Hi, Evan. How are you?
Hi, Bob. How's it going?
Good, good. Mhm.
Okay, Commissioner, we're ready to go.
Good. Thank you, Megan. I hereby call to order the Board of Directors meetings of the New Jersey Transit Corporation, New Jersey Transit Rail Operations, Inc., New Jersey Transit Bus Operations, Inc., New Jersey Transit Mercer, Inc., and New Jersey Transit Morris, Inc.
Good evening. I will now take roll call. Board Member Brown?
I'm here, Megan.
Thank you. Board Member Carson?
Here.
Board Member Gordon?
Here.
Board Member Medina?
Here.
Board Member Nara?
Here.
Board Member Thomas?
Here.
Board Member Weiss?
Here.
Board Member Caniff?
Here.
Board Member Giblin?
Here.
Chair Gutierrez-Scacchetti.
Here.
For the record, all board members are participating remotely. Board Member Doshi is absent, and Board Member Morocco may join us later. This is a meeting of the New Jersey Transit Corporation and its affiliates and subsidiaries. Adequate notice has been provided in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act and NJ Transit's enabling legislation. Notice was filed on March 7th, 2023 with the Secretary of State and sent to newspapers of general distribution, posted in the main entrance of NJ Transit's headquarters, published on the corporation's website, and sent to each individual, agency, and organization that requested such notice.
Thank you, Megan. May I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the February 8th, 2023 board meetings? Please identify yourself as you make the motion.
Motion, Nara.
Second, Gordon.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Megan, please take roll call vote.
Roll call vote. Board Member Carson?
Yes.
Board Member Gordon?
Yes.
Board Member Medina?
Yes.
Board Member Nara? Board Member Nara? Board Member Weiss?
Yes.
Board Member Caniff?
Yes.
Board Member Giblin?
Yes.
Chair Gutierrez-Scacchetti.
Yes.
Board Member Nara, I didn't hear your vote. Board Member Nara?
It was a yes, Megan.
Thank you. Motion carried.
Thank you, Megan. Before we get to the President and CEO's report, I just wanted to take a moment for thanking everyone for switching to an all virtual meeting. We're in for some nasty weather later tonight, and our meetings generally go for a period of time, and some of you train home and drive, some of you drive home, some of you take the bus home. And we just thought better that before it gets too nasty out, it was better to do this virtually. So just a thank you for your patience and your cooperation in converting this meeting to virtual. I'm staying off the screen because I'm in a car and it's very bouncy. So probably just as well you're not watching me. You'll all be motion sick. Again, just thanks for always being so prepared to make these meetings happen. With that, I'll turn it over to President and CEO Corbett for his monthly report.
Okay, great. Thank you. Good evening, Chair and members of the board, and good evening for all the members of the public joining us online tonight. I'll begin this month with overall NJ Transit ridership, comparing transit ridership holistically on bus, rail, and light rail against pre-pandemic levels, as we usually do. Overall, system-wide, NJ Transit ridership is approaching 75% of pre-COVID levels.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Can you hear me okay, Megan?
Yes, I apologize. I muted the person.
Oh, thank you. As a overall system-wide, NJ Transit ridership is approaching 75% of pre-COVID levels. Comparing pre-COVID and post-pandemic ridership patterns, we are still seeing a wide variation system-wide, with heavier travel midweek and lighter travel on Monday and Fridays. Despite the fact some of our routes and services are still below pre-pandemic levels, we continue to strongly believe in maintaining a full schedule for a few key reasons. First, maintaining a full schedule with adequate frequency, along with our improved reliability, is one of the main reasons why NJ Transit ridership has come back stronger on a relative basis than many of our peer agencies across the country. First, we want to make sure that we keep that momentum going forward. And I think also significantly, as our region recovers from the pandemic and riders continue to settle into their travel patterns, they need to know they can count on us to get them where they're going on time and reliably with the frequency they need. Finally, we know the service reductions often lead to what we in the transit industry call a death spiral, a continuing cycle of diminishing services and fewer customers who rely on those services as a result. That is what we want to avoid at all costs as we work against everything we're trying to do to restore and incentivize ridership. We're also working to make discovering or returning to transit as easy as possible through a number of promotions with fare options like Flex Pass and modest targeted discounts aimed at those who don't ride transit currently, or customers who haven't traveled on transit in more than 6 months, for example, and students as we hope to build the next generation of transit riders. Looking specifically at rail, overall weekday ridership is again fluctuating between approximately 55 to 75% of pre-COVID, depending on the day of the week, with many peak hour trains at or near 100%, particularly Tuesdays through Thursdays. Overall, weekday weekend ridership remains at approximately 80 to 90% of pre-COVID levels, with many trains at 100%. Overall bus ridership system-wide is holding steady at approximately 80% of pre-COVID levels. Interstate bus ridership into New York at approximately 76% of pre-COVID levels, and intrastate bus ridership is approximately 80% of pre-COVID levels. Many peak period bus trips are still at or near capacity, and some are even beyond pre-COVID ridership levels. Light rail ridership is also holding steady at approximately 80% of pre-COVID levels on average. The bottom line is if we want to continue attracting customers back to transit, we know that transit must be reliable and provide sufficient frequency to get people where they want to go when they need to go in order to be there. And towards that end, NJ Transit is seeking to make permanent a series of service enhancements on 8 bus routes throughout the state: the 26, 58, 115, 154, the 412, 455, 457, and the 603. In 2021, we began piloting the addition of Sunday services on each of these routes, none of which previously operated on Sundays. These pilot enhancements have been very well received by customers, which is why we are now seeking to make them permanent. In advance of considering the implementation of these scheduled changes on a permanent basis, NJ Transit hosted 2 in-person informational sessions, one on March 7th at our Trenton Transit Center, and the other here at NJ Transit headquarters on March 9th. NJ Transit representatives were on hand to discuss the schedule changes with customers and listen to public comments. These public meetings will allow us to solicit and incorporate as much customer feedback as possible before going to the board to seek approval to make these service additions a permanent part of our bus schedule. In addition to a reliable and predictable schedule, another key aspect of attracting customers back to transit in this era of climate change is making clear the many environmental benefits of transit. That's why this month for St. Patrick's Day, NJ Transit is both increasing service and encouraging parade goers to go green by leaving the driving to us and helping the environment at the same time. NJ Transit provided enhanced rail capacity for the annual St. Patrick's Day Parade in Belmar on March 5th, and we will offer full regular weekday service on all trains, buses, and light rail systems for New York City's parade on March 17th. We also promoted the use of public transit for yesterday's parades in Asbury Park and Atlantic City, as well as a parade in Pearl River on March 19th. Moving on to this evening's agenda, we have one item for board consideration that I'd like to highlight. Later this evening, the board will consider authorizing a contract with Suburban Trails of New Brunswick, New Jersey, which will allow NJ Transit to continue providing local minibus service in Union County. The route provides connecting service to 2 rail stations on the Gladstone line and the Plainfield station on our Raritan Valley line. The continuation of the service is important to our riders and is consistent with our mission to provide a seamless, coherent, and holistic public transportation system throughout the region. In addition to these service updates, we also have updates to report this month in each of our 3 core areas we've been focused on since 2018: infrastructure, technology, and people. Beginning with infrastructure, I'm pleased to note that NJ Transit is being recognized externally for some of our high-profile customer-facing infrastructure projects. I was honored to be on hand last month to accept 2 awards from New Jersey Alliance for Action, one of the foremost industry organizations in New Jersey. At the Alliance annual event recognizing New Jersey's leading capital construction project, I was honored to join New Jersey Transit's Chief Engineer, Rich Schaefer, Chief of Project Management, Kiran Patel, Acting Chief John Gray, and Principal Architect Ed Blanco, Senior Director of Capital Project Management Mike Scarano, Director of Capital Project Delivery and Administration Jonathan Nelson, Project Managers David McGraw and Jason Warmack, all of whom have been working incredibly hard around the clock with their teams to deliver the very large capital plan we now have underway. There, our capital program team accepted awards for our work to advance both the Delco lead storage and inspection facility in New Brunswick and our long slip project in Hoboken. We're very proud that Alliance for Action has recognized the caliber of work on these 2 critical capital projects, and we thank New Jersey Alliance for Action President Jerry Keenan and Senior Vice President Chris Hartman and everyone in the Alliance for the honor. On our aggressive approach to applying for available grant funding is also paying dividends for NJ Transit infrastructure. Last month, NJ Transit secured a $13.2 million US DOT grant for the construction of a new pedestrian tunnel at Long Branch train station, one of the busiest on our North Jersey coastline. The tunnel will be funded in part by a grant from US DOT, Reconnecting Communities pilot program that was established as part of the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, known as the IIJA. And the tunnel will connect the east and west sides of the city that are currently bisected by the rail corridor. It also provides safe and convenient access to each platform, improve the customer experience through enhanced convenience and accessibility, and improve safety by eliminating the need for a railroad pedestrian crossing. Our thanks go out to Secretary Buttigieg and the team at USDOT, and also to New Jersey Congressman Frank Pallone Jr. for his tireless efforts and advocacy to help us secure the award. I'm pleased to note that NJ Transit's zero-emission bus program continues to advance. Last month, NJ Transit introduced 2 more electric buses in Camden, bringing our total up to 3 currently operating in revenue service. 3 buses are gathering important information and data that will allow us to move into the next phase of the program responsibly and reliably. Electric buses 4 and 5 have been delivered and are currently being wrapped and undergoing final inspection before entering revenue service in the coming days. Moving on to technology, last week, NJ Transit introduced a mobile app upgrade that represents a significant step forward in our fare modernization program, leveraging technology to add yet another option for customers to purchase tickets and passes. Using the NJ Transit mobile app, customers can now add cash directly to their MyTransit wallet when visiting more than 1,000 participating network retailers, including 7-Eleven, Walgreens, CVS, Family Dollar, and more. The value can then be used to purchase tickets and passes through our mobile app or from an NJ Transit ticket vending machine, ticket office, or bus fare box. This update is a significant enhancement for customers who are unbanked or underbanked or don't have access to a credit card. Take advantage of a statewide retail network to expand access to transit and further reduce the need for customers to carry cash or paper tickets to travel. Also, as an added bonus for early adopters, the first 2,000 customers who use participating retailers to add cash to their MyTransit wallets will receive a $5 credit towards NJ Transit tickets and pass purchases. For example, if you're one of the first 2,000 customers and add $20 cash to your mobile ticketing account, your account will be updated to contain $25 that you can use towards your ticket purchase. On the people side of our business, I'm pleased to note success in our first ever virtual career fair, NJ Transit's big career event on February 15th. More than 1,500 people joined us on that day, and we shattered a one-day record for applications received that day. On average, we receive 100 to 200 applications per day. And on February 15th, we received a whopping 947 applications, which are keeping our HR department very busy. More than 3,800 people registered in total, and registrants can still visit the booth through tomorrow, March 14th, at njtransit.com/big. Kudos go out to Glenn Schuster, our Chief of Human Resources, and his team, along with NJ Transit's marketing and communications team, for the advertising, promotion, videos, webpage, press release, and social media posts that all help drive the high turnout, which will help us to continue to hire the highest caliber employees. Speaking of which, many of the current employees have some well-deserved recognition coming their way. March 18th is National Transit Operator Appreciation Day, and I can't imagine a better opportunity to acknowledge the hard work, dedication, and professionalism of NJ transit operators who keep our buses, trains, light rail, and access link vehicles running safely and efficiently day in, day out. This recognition is especially important and relevant today as NJ Transit begins to put the COVID-19 pandemic in our rearview mirror. As we look back on the worst days of the pandemic, we should all take a moment to remember the inspirational performance of NJ Transit operators and all our frontline employees who continue to show up every day to work to keep our customers and our economy on the move. To wrap up today, I wanted to make sure everyone knows about our fiscal year 2022 annual report, which is now available at the website at njtransit.com/2022 annual report. Our fiscal year 22 annual report offers a substantive summary of the year's progress, accomplishments, and customer experience improvements. I hope when you get a chance to review it, you'll be as proud as I am for the work that we've done as an agency over the last year. And with that, Chair, I conclude my remarks and turn the floor back to you.
Thank you, Kevin. Megan, are there any comments from the public?
There's 16 pre-registered speakers. In order to give everybody an opportunity to be heard, comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Operator, we would now like to open the floor for public comments.
Please press *1 on your telephone keypad to enter the queue. You will hear a brief tone to indicate you have successfully entered the queue. Priority access will be given to elected officials, followed by participants who have pre-registered to speak. These comments will be taken in turn, and then we will take public comments from remaining participants on a first-come, first-served basis. Each person will have 3 minutes for their public comment. A warning will be provided with 1 minute remaining, and again with 15 seconds remaining. Once again, please press *1 on your telephone keypad now, enter the queue to make a public comment. There are 21 participants in queue at this time, and the first speaker today is Assemblywoman Hayter. Assemblywoman, your line is live. You may go ahead.
Good evening. I'm Assemblywoman Shama Hayter from the 37th District in Bergen County. Today I'm calling with 2 questions for the board this evening. First, I would like to know the status on the hiring for the position of customer advocate. That position has been vacant since 2019 and is still unfilled. I asked this very same question last April and I see there's no change. I did read a news report that the board had received 80 applications, and I'm wondering what the process has been to sort and see if there was any possibility from amongst those. But whatever it is, the board really needs to take action to ensure that that position is filled. My second comment is about the Hudson-Bergen light rail and the non-existent Bergen extension for which we have been waiting for more than 2 decades. There needs to be more action from New Jersey Transit on this, and just blaming the FTA or federal regulators isn't going to cut it anymore. There should be no excuses as to why the most populous county does not have this important mode of transit. And I would also once again reiterate, please, we really need that customer advocate position filled. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is David Peter Allen, followed by Zoe Baldwin. David Peter Allen, your line is live. You may go ahead.
Thank you. Good evening. I am David Peter Allen, Chair of ScatterTAC, the Senior Citizens and Disabled Residents Transportation Advisory Committee here at New Jersey Transit. I am not addressing you as an ordinary member of the public tonight, but making an official statement on behalf of our committee. As part of our effort to help you become better acquainted with our committee, I reported to you last month about how all of our members are seniors, persons with disabilities, or both. Many of us depend on transit for all of our mobility, an experience that uniquely qualifies us to advise you or anybody else concerned about our constituents' mobility needs. Despite age or disability, a number of our members have achieved national reputations in our fields, including transportation. I have been an advocate for better transit since 1985 and spent 21 years as chair of the Lackawanna Coalition and almost that long as a board member of the Rail Users Network, RUN, a national advocacy organization. I am most proud to be a contributing editor at Railway Age, which has covered the railroad industry since 1856. Our second vice chair, Jim Blaze, is also a contributing editor at Railway Age and an internationally known transportation economist. One of our members is Steve Fittante, who served as Director of Local Programs and Community Mobility here at New Jersey Transit. He was one of the founders of the Community Transportation Association of America and won awards for the transportation systems he designed in several New Jersey counties. Other members have strong regional or statewide reputations. Sally Gellert, our first vice chair, has been an environmental and transit advocate for decades and is well known in the environmental field. Linda Melendez is president of the New Jersey affiliate of the National Federation for the Blind. Anthony Lancelotti fought against disability-based discrimination at the college he attended and won. Some of you might know Bob Daslick. For 3 decades, he has been a member of NJ Transit's South Jersey Advisory Committee. I don't have time to mention them all tonight, but our other members are knowledgeable too. We are truly an all-star team who have established strong and credible reputations, notwithstanding age or disabilities. We have established ourselves as worthy of credibility and respect. Yet managers at NJ Transit are still attempting to muzzle us and censor us, so we could not talk about service issues, connectivity, fixed route transit, accessibility, ADA accommodation, access link, or anything except a grant program, which requires that available funds be distributed by a formula. This is wrong. It's morally wrong, and it's legally wrong. Management has made a proposal, and we in management are engaging in negotiations in an effort to resolve the situation. Still, New Jersey's law against discrimination prohibits discrimination on the grounds of age or disability, and we invoke its protection. We insist that the 3 sentences in the proposed regulations that would severely restrict our purview be eliminated, or somehow that we have an advisory committee that is permanent, protected, and with a broad purview so we can continue to serve our constituents as we have for the past 38 years. Justice for them demands no less. Thank you.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Zoe Baldwin. Zoe, your line is live. You may begin.
Hi, thanks so much. My name is Zoe Baldwin. I'm the New Jersey Director for the Regional Plan Association, which is the nation's oldest independent metropolitan research, planning, and advocacy organization. And so last Friday, NJ Transit hosted a tour of the Newton Ave Garage in Camden and a really productive group discussion with RPA and other advocates to explore the opportunities and challenges of converting to a zero-emissions fleet. And I just wanted to say thank you so much to Executive Director Corbett, Anthony Greco, and the Capital and Bus Operations teams for organizing this event. And so everyone knows that no matter what the mode or the fuel source, transit is always the greenest way to go. But decarbonizing the bus fleets is even further assurance and would absolutely help New Jersey meet our ambitious carbon reduction targets and improve air quality. But converting these fleets is going to be challenging, and it's incredibly helpful to hear from your experts themselves on how they're approaching this monumental task. And to be honest, the depth and the breadth of their research is absolutely impressive. And everyone left with 2 really important takeaways, and that's there's much more to this conversion than just buying buses. And NJ Transit is looking at every single angle to make sure this conversion will come off productively and smoothly. And so one takeaway that I really wanted to emphasize to everyone in this room or on this call today is how important it's going to be to secure recurring and dedicated funding from the state to make sure that this advances and that NJ can continue to grow its reach and its connectivity. And so most systems, which granted aren't statewide, have about 47 to 62% of their operating assistance from the state, and NJ Transit doesn't have this. And so projects like this, these ambitious goals that they have, require us to grow and maintain our staffing, and that's funded by these appropriations. And so I just wanted to say that, NJ Transit since in the past, 4 or 5 years has added tons of new bus service. I think it's like 90 scheduled bus trips a day have been added, and they've been doing redesigns and really taking a critical look at it. And this stuff affects hundreds of thousands of people because of our density. But again, just to be successful, I hope that everyone in this room today supports funding for this agency, because this is not a small undertaking, and transit service and the riders that depend on them absolutely need this in order to grow sustainably and healthy. So thank you.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Sally Gellert. Sally, your line is live and your time will begin now.
Thank you. Greetings. I'm Sally Gellert, Woodcliff Lake. I am the chairperson of the Lackawanna Coalition and was recently elected as first vice chairperson of ScatterTAC, New Jersey Senior Citizen Disabled Riders Transportation Advisory Committee. As I did last month, I am tonight speaking in my personal capacity. I want to particularly state my support for allowing the use of cash for the New Jersey Transit app. I purposely avoid using credit cards whenever reasonably possible. I want my payments to go to vendors, not to big banks. Thank you for providing that option to all of us, whether or not we have the capability of paying with credit. As a ScatterTAC member and for a decade a client of Bergen County Community Transportation, I really appreciate the mobility options that such services provide to the many seniors and disabled individuals who, for whatever reason, cannot drive. The ScatterTAC program goes a fair way toward filling the gap, but does not do it all. There are many seniors and disabled residents who need a bit more service and take Access Link. There are others who can manage on scheduled transportation with the right accommodations, and naturally they turn to those they know for help. For 38 years, ScatterTAC has been able to be that place. Now, senior management wants to prohibit such conversations, and we cannot understand why. I note that less than a year ago, management asked us to comment on the reduced fare program, and we were complimentary. Why would they want to restrict us from being involved in similar discussions as we have throughout our existence? We have nothing but advisory authority. We can make suggestions, but cannot implement any of them. Recently, top management in New Jersey Transit has proposed changes in our governing regulations that would close our committee off from our constituents and the board alike. We are upset at the lack of respect and trust that implies, and ask the board to instruct staff to allow us to continue in our traditional capacity. Once again, in the 2022 annual report that I just checked, no limitations are listed on the page 70 description of our purview. The text simply and correctly states, Senior Citizens and Disabled Residents Transportation Assistance Program Citizens Advisory Committee advises NJ Transit on public transit decisions regarding accessibility issues. We have again entered budget season, and at the Lackawanna Coalition's March meeting on the 27th at 6:45 p.m. in person at Millburn Town Hall and virtually on Jitsi, the speaker will be the Coalition's Legislative Director, Vito Havrilla. We'll be testifying at the Assembly and Senate hearings with some suggestions based on our discussion that evening. Plans are shaping up for the Rail Users Network, or RUN conference, on April 28th, right here in Newark, around the corner at the New Jersey Transportation Planning Headquarters. There'll be a transit tour of connection locations, starting with Newark Penn Station, and including a tour of New York Penn Station by Lackawanna Coalition member and former LIR, our Planning Director, Joseph Clift. Please stay Friday and Saturday, April 28th and 29th, for the conference and tour. The Coalition is looking into the possibility of hosting a reception on Thursday, and we'll be printing a special Railgram Extra for the conference. I and my colleagues at the Coalition ScatterTAC, I'm sure, appreciate the realization that a full schedule, both reliability and frequency, is important in returning and attracting riders. We appreciate the increase in bus service. I particularly appreciate expansion of Sunday service. I spend a lot of time at my parents' house in Paramus, where the 168, 758, and 752 do not run on Sunday or end their run before getting to Paramus. Newsflash, we Paramusites do more than shop. The motorists among us appreciate the ability to drive without.
Thank you. And the next public comment is coming from Matt Smith. Matt, your line is live and your time will begin now.
Yes, good evening. My name is Matt Smith. I am the New Jersey Director for Food and Water Watch, and I'm speaking tonight on behalf of our 72,000 members and supporters in the state of New Jersey. And once again, I'm speaking about the transit grid project. I wanted to inform the board, which should already be aware, that we sent each member of the board a copy of a new study conducted by Stratogen Consultants, a renewable energy expert consultant group that proves definitively what we've been saying and what hundreds of members of the public have been saying to New Jersey Transit for 3 years now, which is that a gas plant is completely unnecessary because a renewable energy-based hybrid microgrid is not only a technically feasible option for New Jersey Transit, but is far more affordable and revenue generating than would a fossil fuel-based option. In fact, the study concludes that New Jersey Transit, if they developed a renewable energy-based microgrid that is largely a solar and battery storage powered solution with just a small emergency only use backup turbine, that it would generate over $350 million in more revenue for New Jersey Transit than would the current proposed gas-fired power plant that New Jersey Transit is proposing to develop and run 24/7, 365, which would poison the lungs of the environmental justice community in Kearney, New Jersey, and for millions of residents in the Meadowlands region. And just last month, Governor Murphy announced a new target for New Jersey to achieve 100% clean energy by the year 2035. 2035, by the time transit finalizes and develops their solution, it would likely be less than 10 years before a gas plant would need to be taken offline and replaced with a renewable energy solution. But that's exactly what New Jersey Transit's current RFP is calling for. We are calling for Transit to read the study, to respond to it, and to immediately amend the RFP, not to develop a gas plant, but instead to maximize renewable energy today by developing a renewable energy hybrid microgrid that can meet Transit's exact resiliency needs while achieving the state's clean energy and energy storage goals, and doing everything in their power to make this a model for the country, one that New Jersey Transit riders can be proud of, and that will help in the urgent fight against climate change. So thank you for listening, and we hope to hear a full public response from Transit about how this study can be implemented for its transit grid project.
Thank you. And as a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to enter the queue to make a public comment, you may press *1 on your telephone keypad to join the queue. Once again, that will be *1, join the queue. And the next public comment is coming from Sam DeFalco. Sam, your line is live, and your time will begin now.
Hi, good evening. My name is Sam DeFalco, and I'm also speaking on behalf of Food and Water Watch this evening. Just want to echo the importance of this breaking study that proves what we've been saying for almost 4 years, that New Jersey Transit does not need a new gas plant as part of this transit grid project. The study really shows that if New Jersey Transit moves ahead with a design that includes a gas plant in what is one of the most overburdened regions of the country, was at New Jersey Transit headquarters and made a wrong turn going home and drove by dozens of polluting sites and power plants right where you all are proposing to build a new gas power plant. But if New Jersey Transit does move ahead with this project, it essentially would be a waste of millions of taxpayer dollars at the expense of the lungs of residents. And if Governor Murphy, wants to be remembered as a climate champion, the way his rhetoric, the way he wants to be seen, and as a champion for environmental justice, this project has to go back to the drawing board and be redesigned. And the study proves that, a hybrid solution is not just technologically feasible, but for every reason, it's a better option for New Jersey Transit. So really, also looking forward to the response to this survey from Transit and, getting this project back on track with the renewable energy solution. Thank you.
The next public comment is coming from Eleanor Foreman. Eleanor, your line is live and your time will begin now.
Hi. From the general to the specific, New Jersey Transit Senior Citizen and Disabled Residents Transportation Advisory Committee, ScatterTech, should not be restricted in purview to the point of uselessness. Senior and disabled residents are some of New Jersey's most vulnerable residents. Don't discriminate against them. People with disabilities are most able to understand the issues that other disabled riders face. This committee could improve your understanding of community needs. The committee is made up of volunteers who can take no actions, but merely listen, discuss, and advise. So why do you have a problem with that? As originally planned before the weather emergency, I was instructed telephone speakers who pre-registered before the deadline will follow the in-person speakers. In other words, pre-registered in-person speakers were to go first, and then, only then, pre-registered telephone speakers. So the disabled not able to attend in person were to be discriminated against at the very meeting to decide whether or not they'll continue to have a voice. There are also, by not choosing a teleconference method that allows people to see and be seen, literally making us invisible. You cannot see me as I testify. So they're obviously tone deaf to disability issues. My personal issues are, do all New Jersey Transit buses have accommodation in the baggage compartment for my large Birkelbike recumbent tricycle, which looks like a cross between a motorcycle and a wheelchair on steroids? Or would I have to check in advance to try to arrange something like that? Also, would I have the ability to get the tricycle into any of the trains, including large enough functioning elevators to get it in from the outside without being stopped by guards saying, bicycles are not allowed? These are the disability accommodations I need to make free use of the New Jersey Transit system to visit the house in New Jersey that I grew up in, or anywhere else.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Rachel Davis. Rachel, your line is live and your time will begin now.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Rachel, your line is live.
Hello?
And your time will begin now.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Rachel Dawn Davis. I'm the Public Policy and Justice Organizer for Water Spirit, a 25-year-old nonprofit ministry of the Sisters of St. Joseph of Peace. Our sister ministries, I'm speaking on behalf as well, thousands and thousands of members throughout the state and the Northeast region. We're speaking as allies with those most affected residents who continue to have to deal with these projects that continue to not take into account accessibility, affordability, reality. Historically, unfortunately, the project was switched from a hopeful 100% renewable energy commitment, this New Jersey Transit Grid, most recently flip-flopping to dirty gas for no good reason. No good reason means the project is quite unreasonable. New Jersey Transit sticking to a moral budget would yield more money, renewable energy, something in line with the stated goals of the governor out loud in front of every media outlet. Public health would be increased. So we see a win-win-win, and we will not understand any other option at this point. Public health is not in good shape in New Jersey. Air pollution is rampant. Air pollution is linked to mental health illness and suicide. And ideally, that is very much not ideally, but that is connected to police brutality, which we also have an issue with in the state. All of these issues are connected. And we, as others have said, need to get back on track. I'm not sure why the meeting was moved to be simply virtual tonight, but again, that's not inclusive or actually public. We hope that the report that was mentioned earlier that showcases the viability for renewable energy for this specific project gets to the governor, gets to New Jersey Transit, gets to the media, the national media, continuing to cover New Jersey's current governor as he thinks about a national stage. Governor Murphy can lead. New Jersey Transit can lead. And we need all of you to respond to the current and future generations of New Jersey residents, for all of them, for all of us. The time is now. There is no more time left. Thank you.
Thank you. And the next public comment is coming from David Pringle. David, your line is live and your time will begin now.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, David.
Okay, great. Thank you. Again, David Pringle. I'm representing Clean Water Action and Empower New Jersey. Want to cover 2 points on funding and on the dirty gas plant. But first, a little personal anecdote. My wife just started a new job 3 weeks ago. She used to commute on the Parkway for 30 to 90 minutes from Cranford to Paramus. She's now doing a 1.5-hour commute with 2 switches on 3 different train systems between Cranford and Brooklyn, New Jersey Transit, PATH, and Subway. She was not looking forward to that part of her new job, but she has found it very pleasant, and New Jersey Transit is the best way. So thank you for that, and my comments are in that spirit. We need you to keep it up and be even better. In terms of funding, very much agree with Zoe, but it's also not just about operating, it's about capital. The governor's budget this year is proposing to raid over $300 million again, robbing Peter to pay Paul, and you're taking money out of capital and putting it into operating, basically using your mortgage payment to cover salaries. That's not sustainable, and it's unacceptable. Billions have been raided from the capital fund over the last 20 years, and there are billions of dollars of, as you know, unmet capital needs. So really need you to be much more advocates. We're not naive. We know some of you are employees of the governor's branch, and many of you are recent employees of the governor. That said, not all of you are, and you are not an arm of the governor. You are independent. Otherwise, what's the point? So please advocate to get more funding. I know you're not going to do it the way we are, but you can't be silent, and to date, you have been silent. On to the dirty gas plant. Any version of gas is dirty. It doesn't burn in a vacuum. It's impossible for there not to be NOx emissions. Some options are less bad from a climate perspective, but none of them are good from an environmental justice perspective. Stratogen, who did this report, is an independent, well-respected, minority-owned, women-owned global energy strategy consulting firm. You did not do your work. It's ridiculous that we had to pay for that. That said, they are independent. There are no strings attached. We asked them, is it feasible to come up with a non-burn option? And the answer is yes. Not only is it yes, it's cleaner, healthier, more economical, it's technically feasible, and a much less risky alternative than a new, massive, dirty gas burning plant. It demonstrates that you can achieve your resiliency objectives with a renewable energy-based hybrid microgrid consisting of solar, battery, and a small-scale emergency use-only turbine. We are so reasonable that our solution even includes a little bit of fossil fuel. So please, don't be a rubber stamp. What's the point? Why are you there if you're going to be a rubber stamp? Be independent. Advocate for clean mass transit options and full funding. Thank you.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Richard Grant. Richard, your line is live and your time will begin now.
Today is about the significant results of the consequential energy study, but it is also about something related to NJ Transit's plan to move its Newark headquarters if negotiations work out from 1 Penn Plaza East to 2 Gateway Center at 283 Market Street. Probably you already know that Gateway Center renovations include an entryway and a retail and dining concourse, but it might be news that Newark City Hall is not the only local building being renovated to make it an environmentally responsible green building. The U.S. Green Building Council's website also shows a Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design certification in progress for 2 Gateway Center. NJ Transit, some 2,200 headquarters employees should be elated, especially because if it gets built, the Passaic Valley Sewage Commission's gas-fired power plant will be emitting toxic air pollutants in the nearby Ironbound. According to the council, LEED's latest version is Green Building's next generation standard, helping buildings create safer and healthier environments for their occupants, reducing their greenhouse gas and carbon emissions, and using toxic-free materials to deliver cleaner indoor air to improve productivity, focus, and reduce respiratory illnesses of their occupants. I'll say this. Every one of New Jersey Transit headquarters employees is entitled to a healthy environment as much as any resident of Newark or Kearney or any other overburdened community, whether they live in a low-income household or not, whether they live in a minority household or not, whether they live in a limited English proficiency household or not. Every one of New Jersey Transit's headquarters employees, as much as any New Jersey Transit employee who works on or around diesel-fueled buses or train locomotives. Suppose NJ Transit obtains the permits and approvals to largely power NJ Transit grid with a gas-fired power plant in Kearney. On the day the plant is scheduled to begin emitting particulate matter and other toxins, when the chair, President Corbett, and other board members and senior managers have arrived from Gateway 2 Center to attend, wouldn't it be a godsend that they were free of respiratory illnesses? Would it matter whether or not NJ Transit management or board had considered two Gateway Centers LEED certification in progress in the site acquisition process, or first heard the term green building just about 3 minutes ago? No, because same result. For as many as 25 years, offices leased in LEED building would prioritize the health and well-being of NJ Transit's headquarters employees, while if it gets built, NJ Transit's gas-fired power plant would emit airborne toxins into the lungs of children, seniors, pregnant women, everyone in Kearney and beyond. Governor Murphy, are you on board with the disproportionate outcomes of NJ Transit's two Jersey site selection, intended or not? Governor, doesn't it become more likely that New Jersey would meet your clean energy and emission reduction targets if NJ Transit both entered into that lease and powered NJ Transit grid without a gas-fired power plant? Thank you.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Holly Cox. Holly, your line is live and your time will begin now.
Hi, I'm Holly Cox, a 24-year New Jersey resident. I'm here to call on Governor Murphy and New Jersey Transit to please redesign your microgrid project to be powered by renewable energy, which a new report shows to be technologically feasible, more economical, and better for our health and climate. I've already spoken at past meetings about the urgency of the climate crisis, the unreliability of gas in an emergency, and the immorality of adding more pollution to an overburdened community. So today I want to make clear that a renewable option is feasible and makes financial sense. A new report by Strategy Consulting shows that a combined system of solar, battery storage, and a backup gas turbine only to be used in true emergencies is a feasible alternative for meeting NJ Transit's operational needs during severe weather events with the ability to power the system more than 2 weeks. Governor Murphy just announced an accelerated target of 100% clean energy by 2035, moving up the initial goal by 15 years. This dramatically changes the game. To start building a fossil fuel plant now makes no financial sense. To comply with this new target, as soon as NJ Transit finishes building its gas plant, it will have to transition it to clean fuels by 2035 instead of 2050. This conversion could easily add millions of dollars in unnecessary costs to this project. Renewables are the future and are much cheaper and more profitable than fossil fuels. The report found that our renewable energy system could realize hard profits ranging between $45 to $85 million from 2028 to 2050. In contrast, the report found that the fossil fuel project could face losses of $42 million and only up to $29 million in profits over the same period. NJ Transit, it is time to reconsider your RFP. A fossil fuel plant does not make financial sense. In addition, there are measurable financial benefits to avoiding a climate disasters and to improving human health. The report found that avoiding emissions from 2028 to 2050 by operating a renewable energy system instead of a fossil fuel plant could save between $193 to $346 million in climate change impacts. Further, reducing pollutants could save another $8 to $14 million locally in health and morbidity impacts. Thus, combining the avoided environmental and health costs with the hard profits, the renewable energy system could generate $328 to $376 million more in total value than the fossil fuel gas plant over the same period. NJ Transit, in order to be financially responsible, you must pursue renewable alternatives. The market is changing. The transition to renewables is happening. People are realizing that fossil fuels are causing extreme weather events and making our planet uninhabitable. It is irresponsible to invest in a fossil fuel plant now. Investment in clean energy alternatives provides stability and prevents greater expenditures in the future. NJ Transit has shown no evidence that a gas power plant is financially, environmentally, technically, or socially superior to a renewable hybrid microgrid. I thus call on Governor Murphy and NJ Transit to live up to our state's climate and clean energy commitments, be real climate leaders, and stop this disastrous fossil fuel proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Ken Dolsky. Ken, your line is live and your time will begin now. Ken Dolsky, please check to see if your line is muted. Your line is open and your time can begin now.
Oh, okay, sorry. I'm Ken Dolsky from Don't Gas the Meadowlands Coalition. Board Chair Gutierrez Sacchetti, President Corbett, and members of the board. For over 3 years, our coalition has been pressing New Jersey Transit to include a request for bids on a renewable energy-based solution for its initial implementation of Transit Grid. Even after Governor Murphy directed you to include such a solution and you agreed to maximize the use of renewable energy, you still refused to ask bidders to provide quotes for such a solution. Instead, you doubled down on the gas plant in your RFP, making it a foregone conclusion. And you said you'd find a way to transition to a clean energy solution over time. When challenged at board meetings, you spoke about reliability or lack of space for our solution, or battery technology not being up to the task. You even used Donald Trump's absurd argument about solar not working at night. When we asked for any evidence to back up your claims, your only response was silence. What were you afraid of? Why would you not even ask for bids on a renewable solution? You knew it would be cleaner, safer, far less polluting, better for the climate, and support the new EJ law, but clearly these advantages were never important enough. Were you afraid it would also be less costly or less risky or more profitable? Well, now we know what you were afraid to learn. We commissioned a study from Strategen as an expert in clean energy. We asked them to compare the financial aspects and risks of a gas plant versus a renewable energy hybrid. The results of this study surpassed our expectations in terms of financial advantages for a renewable energy solution and the enormity of the risk to New Jersey Transit for building a gas plant. The key finding is that a renewable energy system could generate about $350 million in total value over a gas plant during its lifetime. This financial advantage does not even include the additional costs transit will incur to convert to a clean energy solution. These added costs will come with great risk and uncertainty because they are dependent on currently unfeasible fuel systems that will likely add at least tens and possibly hundreds of millions in additional costs. Transit has a one-time grant to build its transit grid power source. But instead of considering all alternatives, it has decided to commit all these funds towards the most costly, most risky, least profitable, and highly polluting and deadly solution. Future costs and revenues are far more certain for the renewable energy solution. The results of this study dispel all of New Jersey Transit's arguments against the feasibility, cost-effectiveness, and reliability of renewable energy for transit grid. You have no more excuses. We call on you and Governor Murphy to amend the RFP and go for a renewable energy-based hybrid. This is a win-win for you. This is in your own best interest. We're not asking you to make any sacrifices for climate or health. You will profit as well. You will avoid the catastrophe of sinking your money into a gas plant that will be obsolete in 10 years, and then you will have to find new money to come up with a way to convert to renewable energy. As always, our coalition is open to having a dialogue with Transit on these findings or any other topic. Thank you.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Adam Wright. Adam, your line is live and your time will begin now.
Good evening. First off, I want to thank Board Member Nara for following up with me on the customer advocate position at the last board committee meeting. I just want to check and see, are we still on track for a posting on that position soon? If so, do we have a date? Also, is there a target start date, recognizing that it could change depending on the progress with an incumbent? On closed car issue is something I've raised. Curious, I've been noticing the front car on my regular afternoon train open. I'm wondering, has there been any sort of global change in response to the issues I've raised with bathroom access? In particular, has New Jersey Transit developed in its framework, in its standards, assurances that passengers don't have to walk long lengths to find the nearest bathroom car, and that crews have at least one, if not more, bathroom cars open at all times? Board Member Gordon, I know you're going to be compelled to respond to the environmental advocates, but I would also just ask if you could jot down. I want to thank you for your attention to the quiet commute issue as far as the sign suggestions, changing it to more of a permanent posting in all cars. Any progress on that? I'm still seeing my evening train never has the signs posted. Ostensibly, they're never given to crews. So I just want to know if management has gotten back to you with the suggestions on automated announcements and additional signage. Importantly, I do want to support ScatterTech. Things I've encountered in recent months, right? Managers not offering any sort of dialogue on a mask car option, no effort to find a way to accommodate immunocompromised riders and others who said, hey, I can't ride the system if every car is mask optional. When I have crew members saying over the radio, joke mockingly, make sure you make it a mask car, or when I have crew members insisting that the only functioning bathroom car is closed because they have it closed, putting up a barrier in violation of the ADA. These are all things that demand that riders have a voice, and importantly that a group like ScatterTech be able to set its own agenda and raise ridership issues. If you don't allow that, you're simply going to make it easier for managers to overlook or bury accessibility issues, like bathroom access, which, again, the ADA has guidance on. Finally, I just want to ask, in terms of a follow-up, Board Member Nara, I think you had promised to look into this. Has there been any sort of review of New Jersey Transit closing exits at its facilities? In other words, making sure that they comply with fire codes, especially since there was that February 15th or so issue with the Division of Fire Safety issuing violations to transit for how it closed an entrance at Trenton with a padlock and chains and a barricade. I just want to ensure that there's no other facility that has it, and also that protocols are reviewed to ensure that there is a fire safety expert consulted when there's an exit closing like that going forward. So again, Board Member Nara, if you could address that point as well as the customer advocate and closed car concerns, especially on the bathroom point. And again, Board Member Gordon, if you have anything for me on quiet commuter, if you can see if staff can chime in, it would be appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Haley Benson. Haley, your line is live, and your time will begin now.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. You may proceed.
Okay, great. I'm speaking on the New Jersey Transit proposed power plant. Solar and energy storage can meet New Jersey Transit operational needs to power the system for 2 weeks or longer. Solar and storage components can be easily upgraded in small increments as their efficiency improves. The renewable energy system would generate $328 million to $376 million more in total value than the fossil fuel gas plant over its lifetime, ending in 2050. The NJT should use its Federal Transportation Agency one-time grant to build a renewable energy-based hybrid microgrid solution that will meet its 2050 objectives, instead of committing these funds towards a more costly, risky, and highly polluting solution that will require a significant technical transition and major additional funding. On February 15th in 2023, Governor Murphy announced an accelerated 100% clean energy target by 2035, moving up the initial goal by 15 years. To comply, New Jersey Transit would have to transition a gas plant to clean fuels or other abatement technologies by 2035. By spending the one-time FTA NJ grant on a gas plant, it will not have any funds for its replacement and will have to go to the legislator for more money to make up for this poor decision. The Federal Emergency Management Agency says that pipes and gas should not be used for emergencies such as grid outage. Quote, gas is not stored on site, but rather pipes to the site from a local utilities can be interrupted during high wind, flood, or earthquake events. Reducing health impacts from local pollutants can save another $7.6 million to $14.3 million locally. A gas power plant will increase air pollutants, including CO2, NOx, particulate matter, SO2, and VOCs in a region that already experiences some of the worst air pollution in the country. Activists are not opposed to energy transit. Hello? Oh, 1 minute. Okay.
Yes.
Activists are not opposed to NJ Transit selling excess electricity commercially. However, transit should only do so using clean, renewable energy sources. Selling electricity to Amtrak from polluting sources will only give NJ Transit a financial incentive to pollute overburdened communities. Thank you so much for your time, and I yield my time.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from James Crawford. James, your line is live, and your time will begin now.
I'm James Crawford, live in Hawthorne, New Jersey, commuter, and I call on Governor Murphy and his New Jersey transit system to address the critical issues by amending the request for proposal for the New Jersey Transit microgrid project that's been discussed on several of these speakers, so that the project design is primarily driven by the renewable energy-based hybrid microgrid project, which now has been proven by this new report from Strategen Consulting, needs to be looked at, right? That it's not only technologically feasible, but significantly more economical than the new gas plant, and will be a win for the climate and public health. So my background is I worked on Wall Street for about a quarter of a century in an electric utilities hedge fund. And these gas plants basically are uneconomic if you account for the, I guess, the pollution, the externalities. But they're easier to pass, you know, because somebody's going to make a surplus profit on it. And we just are interested in making sure that there's no connection between these corporate operators who build the plants and our local politicians, right? Because that's typically how every state has this problem. So we're just here, I'm here to provide some intellectual self-defense for the activists on the ground. And we're very well versed in generation companies and how they operate. So I'm on the record. Thanks for listening, you guys.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Martin Bosland. Martin, your line is live. Your time will begin now.
Thank you. My name is Martin Bosland, and I'm speaking as a private citizen. I'm a retired professor of pathology with emeritus status from the University of Illinois at Chicago, who has retired to Montclair. And I want to add my voice to what has been said by several of the previous speakers about using an alternative to the gas plant with this transit grid project to use the renewable hybrid microgrid. But I particularly want to address the environmental health aspects of the gas plant. I've been working in environmental health and public health for over 40 years at the local, national, and international levels, and I became very concerned about this plant being placed in an area where the local community is being heavily burdened by a host of toxic and polluting insults, and has consequently developed very poor health status. There are high rates of asthma, for example. And in much of my work, I've looked with others in team efforts at the effects of pollution that already happened, the health effects of pollution in the past. That's typically what is done in epidemiology and so on. But here we have a unique opportunity of preventing a polluting effect on the local population before it starts. And I want to really urge the board to change its course and consider the environmental justice aspects of the plan to build a gas power plant and really go for the alternatives. Thank you.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Sarah Kleppner. Sarah, your line is live and your time will begin now.
Thanks so much. Good evening to all. I'm calling to weigh in and support the request that New Jersey Transit amend the request for proposals to include renewable energy microgrid. This is the only way forward. Carbon dioxide levels are skyrocketing. I know this has been discussed at length in prior meetings by folks who are on the ground, the activists, and thank you to Food and Water Watch, the watchdog. But the fact is that the planet is warming and the oceans are acidifying. The scientists who discovered the acidification of the oceans, which is due to the level of carbon dioxide and the warming, the carbon dioxide dissolves in the oceans, okay? And this spells the end of a livable planet. And you folks are in a position of power in regards to how we proceed. It might seem risky. It might seem a little out there to have a train system that's depending on solar power, but actually it is the only way forward, and New Jersey can lead the way. I just urge the board members to do your due diligence. Please read the report from Stratogen. It was sent to you. It just came out. Please read it. Also, I ask you to please investigate ecological tipping points. This is very serious stuff. We are not a bunch of hippies. Maybe some of us are, but the fact is the hippies are right. The planet is warming. Code red from the head of the UN, the IPCC. This is a very serious situation. So, I am a environmental activist, but I'm also a commuter. I take New Jersey Transit from Manasquan to Edison, the very edge of Edison, Woodbridge and Edison. But, I take New Jersey Transit because I want to minimize my footprint. And, really, please understand what time it is, what the situation is on the planet. I repeat, tipping points, board members, please read the report from Stratogen. Also, the costs, which is an important consideration, are not the costs range widely because the estimate of the cost range because the cost of fossil fuels is very unpredictable. Renewable energy is very predictable. The sun, it's a beautiful thing. So thank you so much for your due diligence.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from John Reichman. John, your line is live and your time will begin now.
Thank you. My name is John Richmond. I'm on the steering committee of Empower New Jersey. Your plan to build a 24/7 gas-fired power plant in the Meadowlands is simply irreconcilable with Governor Murphy's recent executive order requiring 100% clean energy by 2035. Meeting this goal would require shutting down your putative gas plant shortly after it was built. On top of this, the Stratogen report unquestionably shows that to the extent that any plan is needed for resiliency, it can use renewable energy sources. And if the only choice is between building a gas-fired power plant and not building a plant at all, it makes no economic or environmental sense to go ahead with the project. The public's many frustrations with transit includes its lack of transparency and the lack of any dialogue with board members. One-way conversations and public comment periods like this is like spitting into the wind. Let's change that tonight. I challenge you to answer the following questions. And if you don't want to do it before the public, at least make a note of them and answer these questions for yourselves. 1, do you intend to follow the governor's executive order? 2, have you considered changing your plans in light of the governor's executive order? 3, has the governor communicated with you about the project since he signed his executive order? 4, how many years will the gas plant operate before it must be shut down? 5, the project budget was approximately $525 million in 2014. What is it now? $1 billion, $2 billion. When will you tell us what the project will actually cost and what other capital projects of New Jersey Transit, such as buses or the extension of the light rail line, will remain unbuilt because you want to build a power plant? 6, this Christie-era project not only conflicts with New Jersey's climate goals, but federal clean energy policies. Have you asked the feds to alter their grant money so it can be used for true resiliency projects that won't make the climate crisis worse and harm already overburdened communities? Our message to both you board members and the entire Murphy administration is simply this: stop being climate hypocrites and immediately halt any further efforts to build a new gas-fired plant. Do you want your legacy to your children to be, I voted to approve the last fossil fuel-fired plant while the world was on fire? Thank you.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Andy Weiss. Andy, your line is live and your time will begin now.
Good evening, Board. Please give us a status of the customer advocate position. 2 other people asked about it tonight. Approximately 10 people asked about it at the last board meeting about the customer advocate, at least about 10 people. So it's not just me and Adam. It's many people are asking about it. Many more people are asking about it on Twitter. The customer advocate job description is not listed on the NJ Transit careers page still, and was not part of the recent virtual career fair. You had a big virtual career fair, but somehow the customer advocate was missing again. Unbelievable. It really is. We need an NJ Transit customer advocate office that is open 7 days a week. 7 days a week. We need a customer advocate office to help desperate and degraded NJ Transit riders. Los Angeles Metro System, the Metro Transit System I just read, hired 300 ambassadors to help their riders and advocate for them. 300. We can't even get one advocate. We can't even, you don't even hire a few advocates. We need an office. NJ Transit will not give us any customer advocates, even though it is law and was signed by Governor Murphy 4 years ago. NJ Transit executives are terrified of a real customer advocate office because it will expose their propaganda and gaslighting. That's what you do best. Don't try to water down the customer advocate job description because we know that is what you're trying to do. We need NJ Transit bus lanes on Kennedy Boulevard in Hudson County. Why are you against bus lanes? Why don't you even talk about it? You're a transit board. You're supposed to talk about bus lanes. NJ Transit Board has destroyed bus service because you have ordered hundreds and hundreds of obsolete one-door cruiser buses it's just unbelievable.
1 minute remaining.
They have luggage compartments. You've ordered hundreds and hundreds of obsolete one-door cruiser buses with luggage compartments. You have destroyed bus service for another generation with these horrible buses. They are horrible. You've destroyed us. You have flooded the bus system with your horrible one-door cruiser bus orders. You don't think. You just order. You're like a rubber stamp. When is the Hudson Bergen light rail going to be extended? How many more is going to be done in my lifetime? Governor Murphy is giving $10 billion to expand the turnpike instead of expanding the Hudson Bergen light rail into Bergen County. Of course, this board doesn't say anything. You don't talk about bus lanes. You don't talk about any regional fare cards. Nothing. This board is a rubber stamp for management and Governor Murphy. NJ Transit, let me say it again, NJ Transit is the worst transit agency in America. Worst. Thank you.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from David Corpage. David, your line is live and your time will begin now.
Good evening. My name is David Corpage. I'm from Montclair, New Jersey. I'm president of the group Montclair Climate Action, although I'm speaking today in a personal capacity. I'd just like to start out by saying that I appreciate NJ Transit. I ride it frequently. My wife rides it to work just about every day, so I appreciate the need for service and reliability even during storms. Anyone who lived through Sandy can appreciate that need for reliability. But anyone who lived through Sandy also got a taste of what's going to get worse if we don't do something to address global warming. As you know, by far the largest source of heat-trapping air pollution is the burning of fossil fuels. And we simply can't address the problems of global warming if we don't cut ourselves off of fossil fuels. Governor Murphy himself recognized this just recently when he accelerated our transition to 100% clean electricity to 2035. And despite all this, New Jersey Transit continues to insist on outdated fossil fuel technologies, this despite the fact that renewables and storage are becoming cheaper and cheaper. The recent report from Stratagen, which has been mentioned here a number of times already, shows not only that a system based on renewables, energy, and backup methane gas is doable, it actually stands to make more money than a fossil fuel plant does and can even be more reliable or resilient with electricity stored on site rather than gas piped in. And of course, it will lead to improvements in human health for surrounding communities who avoid years of toxic and dangerous air pollution. Finally, it seems silly to invest so much money in a dirty gas plant that stands to be obsolete in just over 10 years, if not sooner, as we transition to clean electricity. Renewable energy can work. That's why I'm joining the call for Governor Murphy and NJ Transit to address these critical issues by amending the RFP for the NJ Transit microgrid project, so the project design is primarily driven by a renewable energy hybrid-based microgrid. As I noted, it's now shown by this new report to be not only technologically feasible, but also significantly more economical than a new gas plant. It will be a win for both the climate and for public health. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Stephanie Martinez. Stephanie, your line is live and your time will begin now.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, Stephanie, you may go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Stephanie Martinez. I am part of a green team. I'm the green team leader of MD Earth Talks and member of Food, Water, and Water Watch. Thank you for taking the time to listen to many of the people who came in person and virtually the previous meeting in February to express their concerns about how they will be negatively affected by the proposed dirty frack gas power plant. But my demands are if you can continue to incorporate consistent public feedback to allow for transparency and demand language justice, as most of the overburdened communities that will be affected by the dirty project speak another language other than English. It is tiring to see and hear time and time again in my community saying, I didn't know about this project. Why do they keep putting another gas power plant? And people having to just share their own struggles from themselves, someone that they love, or someone that they know, having adverse health effects such as cancer, respiratory illnesses, and asthma. I urge Governor Murphy to take his environmental justice and clean energy commitments seriously, to walk his talk and put community need over corporate greed. Stop the build-out of dirty energy projects like the NJ Transit frack gas power plant and demonstrate your leadership on behalf of our communities. Renewable is doable. As mentioned before, there is a new study providing the feasibility and superiority of renewable energy solutions. This study demonstrates that renewable energy is a much cleaner, greener, healthier, and more affordable, more resilient alternative to building a mass new power plant in EJ communities that are already overburdened with pollution, disproportionately affected by previous power plants as well. I'm a North Bergen resident of the same township that opposed the construction of the NJ Transit Grid gas power plant project in 2020 and will now be within a 3-mile radius of this proposed plant. However, no matter where these toxic projects are proposed, pollution has no barriers. President Corbett, board members Brown, Carson, Dashi, Dashiell, Giblin, Gillingham, Gordon, all of you, please, and Governor Murphy, we will all breathe the same dirty, toxic air. Outside of community organizing and NB Earth Talks, I study biology at St. Peter's University and now have an opportunity to continue research at NJIT as a research technician studying endocrine-disrupting chemicals. And these chemicals, in the name, disrupts our endocrine system. There are numerous studies showing that the most direct environmental threat to cognition and IQ is posed by dirty power plant projects, which release neurotoxic methylmercury. This toxic chemical often causes brain and spinal cord damage, causing numerous adverse health effects. It is especially damaging to the developing brains of fetuses and younger children. Does NJ Transit have data on measurements of the types of pollutants this dirty plant will emit, or even consider public impacts? Avoiding these CO2 emissions from operating the renewable energy system instead of fossil fuel system could save about $300 million associated with climate change, reducing health and...
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Tony Hall. Tony, your line is live and your time will begin now.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Tony. Your time will begin now. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks and good evening to all the members of the board and everyone present. I am Tony Hall, a longtime member of the Scattertap Committee, but today I speak to you only as an individual private citizen who is concerned with one of the topics under discussion this evening. I'd like to say a few words about that proposed measure, which we understand is intended to limit the purview of the Scattertap Committee. I join with all those who here today urge you to reject this course of action, as it will, in my judgment, waste a hard-working, productive cadre of dedicated volunteers with no apparent gain. This committee has, during my long tenure, discussed and offered advice on a wide range of topics, all affecting the mobility of seniors and persons with disabilities. Many of us who fall within that group have a stake not only in those services specifically designed for our use, but also in the wider world of scheduled transport. I've often observed fellow seniors and passengers with disabilities riding scheduled trains and buses along with their able-bodied fellow travelers. I even have observed special provisions designed to encourage and accommodate those passengers and to encourage them to ride scheduled transit. Therefore, it would seem altogether fitting and proper that this committee continue to address all issues that affect the mobility of the transit-dependent population. Duplication of responsibility has been cited as an excuse to further limit the activities of the Scattertap Committee. I would point out that in matters of true importance to the public interest, a little redundancy is no vice. Thank you.
Thank you. Next public comment is coming from Yannette Ramirez. Yannette, your line is live and your time will begin now.
Hi, thank you. Hi, everyone in the room and on the phone. My name is Yannette Ramirez. I use New Jersey Transit at least once a week when I worked in the city every day. I'm a Newark resident, and I'm here to demand New Jersey Transit look at the critical issues with the RFP to build a microgrid project. It must change its plans to renewable energy. According to Governor Murphy's Master Energy Plan, we must be 100% renewable by 2035. The latest RFP in December still has a gas plant, something that would disastrously affect the overburdened communities. If you truly want the public transit resiliency, switch to using renewable energy. We know in the plan that just proposed, there's a profit incentive to sell remaining energy to Amtrak and PSE&G. How can you use public funds to build a project that you will have to scrap a few decades by 2035, as the governor just stated in February of this year? It is not a proactive plan to use funds like this. It's inhumane to come into a community, one who is mostly working class, African American, and new immigrants, judge its people on lack of infrastructure so they could walk all over us, imposing death-polluting projects like this. This will only feed into a cycle of starvation of the land, its people, and its labor force. There are large uncertainties with the current RFP. Fiscally, it doesn't make sense to waste money like that. Wasting money while hurting surrounding communities with fossil fuels is wrong and fiscally irresponsible. I want to shout out to the new report by Stratagem, the report that everyone on the board has and has in possession. Renewable energy is clean.
I'm a doctorate student at Rutgers University, Newark. It's important to note that before I went back to school, I was living and working in DC. I've worked at the State Department, I've worked at the World Bank, I've been a Peace Corps volunteer, I've lived around the world. However, I am also somebody with a disability. Some would say an invisible disability. I'm hard of hearing and wear hearing aids in both ears. To help individuals like myself, I am on the board of the Hearing Loss Association of America's New Jersey chapter. And the Hearing Loss Association of America is an organization that provides support and resources for individuals who are deaf and hard of hearing. So why am I here? Why do I keep making these statements? I live in Central Jersey. I am fully dependent on NJ Transit to get to my job, to get to medical appointments, and to access other related medical services. I am also reliant on NJ Transit to see friends and family and attend social events. So in other words, I'm fully reliant on NJ Transit to access the basic necessities of life. This reliance directly impacts my quality of life and my well-being. However, as I've shared with the board previously, NJ Transit discriminates against individuals like me. NJ Transit is not compliant with the Americans with Disabilities Act for individuals who are hard of hearing and deaf. So whenever I ride NJ Transit, I am frustrated, I'm confused about where the train is, where the next stop is, where I am on the train, and I'm stressed out. As I have to spend hours on NJ Transit to get access to my job, doctors, friends, and other activities, this continued stress-inducing exposure and frustrating experience is incredibly upsetting. So as a result, I had applied to join the Senior Citizens and Disabled Residency Advisory Committee and joined this committee as the first person who is hard of hearing. Beyond individuals with mobility limitations, it's important to have individuals with disabilities who are part of the discussion about how to make NJ Transit accessible for all individuals with disabilities and not just individuals with mobility limitations. I've witnessed firsthand and experienced discrimination. In New Jersey, NJ Transit has become an organization that has implicitly supported such marginalization and discrimination of people like me, and especially through their treatment of ScatterTAC and its leadership, as well as committee members. NJ Transit's opaque move of threatening to get rid of this advisory committee is clearly of egregious discriminatory intent and a move to further isolate management from the real problems that occur for riders on the ground throughout New Jersey. It's unlawful and does little to address NJ Transit's continued issues with providing accessibility for its riders in the disability community. Thank you.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Sam Glick. Sam, your line is live and your time will begin now.
It's actually Ted Glick. Can you hear me?
My apologies. Yes, Ted, we can hear you and your time will begin now.
Okay, thank you. I live in Bloomfield, New Jersey. I've lived in New Jersey about 25 years. I take New Jersey Transit many times, a lot of the times to go into the city. I'm also the president of the organization 350 New Jersey Rockland, which has been working on the issue of the climate crisis for many, many years, and will keep doing so. So the thing that I keep thinking about, and I have continued to keep thinking about as I hear people speak about the power plant, the gas power plant that, as of now, looks like you all want to do that. That's what you want to do. Although it seems like it's pretty hard now that the governor has set this new target date of 2035 to shift to renewables, which is definitely a good thing. The implementation remains to be seen. You all can really be leaders, as has been said. You know, I was thinking, again, listening to this call of a couple of years ago, when the governor had called upon you to take renewables seriously. And I remember saying in one of these calls back then that, let's set an example for how community activists and organizers and people who are critical of a government agency can actually work together with that agency. And let's do this. Let's be a leader. Let's be maybe a national leader in terms of this kind of a project. And now we have this study, the Strategen study, which really shows so clearly that this is the way to go. It's not like a question of which power source. I mean, there are just so many reasons that have been put forward, including financially, as to why this is the way to go. So I can't help but wonder how you're going to react to this. Like after you all read it, is the board going to come out with a statement saying, well, there's some good things in there, but we need to do more studies. This is et cetera. And I'm sure you are going to do more studying. That's important. But I wonder if you're going to find something maybe that's not quite right, and you'll kind of just focus in on that, and you'll kind of miss the bigger picture of this analysis, this really excellent analysis that's been done. Or are you really going to do what you should have done 2 years ago and get with us? Let's make this happen. And you can take the credit, right? You can take the credit as the leader. Governor Murphy can take the credit. Let's just make this happen, because this is what the planet needs. This is what people whose lung and whose health care needs. It's what's best for New Jersey. Please do the right thing this time. Please. Thank you.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Harry McDevitt. Harry, your line is live, and your time will begin now.
Thank you. I am an attorney in practice in Middlesex and in Essex County, and I have devoted my life to reducing fossil fuel consumption. I take New Jersey Transit to court, and for personal affairs, and I want you guys to be heroes. I want you to stop this crazy toxic power plant, and I'm not going to repeat all the information that you've already been given. I'll make this brief. I just want to join with that growing number of people who realize this is a health and climate problem, and just want to get on the record and say you guys can be heroes. You can be leaders in making public transport renewable and available to cut down on traffic. And just look forward to your awakening. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And the next public comment is coming from Frederick Mendez. Frederick, your line is live, and your time will begin now.
Greetings, everyone. This green energy alternative, I suspect it scares a lot of people. It raises fears. I understand fear. I'm often fearful. But this is a fear above which we need to rise. Of course, local deadly pollution and global climate change, these things are far more scary. And many of us are far more afraid of them, and rightly so. We have the technology we need for green, but will we conquer our fears and the sheer momentum of this fossil fuel freight train? We can learn from what we did in 2 great world wars. Let's consider how we faced our enemies. We were bold. We made personal and collective sacrifices. We discovered the previously unacknowledged power of women, Rosie the Riveter. Now let's think also of Volodymyr Zelensky, the president of Ukraine. Like you, Zelensky was chosen to do a job, to make many relatively mundane decisions efficiently and wisely, to work hard. But then the enemy appeared at his doorstep, and he realized his whole job description had to change. He rallied the Ukrainian people. Now they're willing to give up everything to secure a healthy future for their children and grandchildren. We have an enemy at our doorstep now. This enemy is stealthy, but extremely destructive. Can you see it? Can you see its strength growing exponentially? I can, thanks to modern science. However, too many of us consider our climate scientists and our medical scientists irrelevant and opinionated. Why do they think this way? That's a discussion for another time. But this is what I do know now. Too many people are shaking their heads at our scientists, saying, well, of course, we'd all like less pollution, but you heady thinkers are just not being practical. But I am saying too many people just don't know how afraid they are of change, and they do not know how impractical is the status quo, nor do they know how afraid they should be about burning fossil fuels. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And there are no further participants in the public comment queue at this time.
Thank you, public speakers. Are there any board member comments?
Megan?
Board member Gordon?
Yes, thank you. Just like to respond to a couple of topics that were raised. First of all, as always, I thank everyone for participating this evening and voicing your views. I'd like to first just respond to Assemblywoman Hader's comments on extending the Hudson-Bergen Light Rail. It really would be nice as a lifelong Bergen resident to put some meaning into the term Hudson-Bergen, because it's really not very Bergen at this point. Eastern Bergen County in particular is really suffering from limited transportation options. There really is no train service there. And extending the Hudson-Bergen light rail system from its current terminus to the Englewood Hospital site in the north really would provide some great transit options for people in Eastern Bergen. Combined with ferry service out of Weehawken, it would provide another alternative for Trans-Hudson travel. Given the amount of federal money that is becoming available, I would just recommend to the staff that we take another look at our capital budget schedule. I know Hudson-Bergen Light Rail is in there, but it's not a priority the last time I checked. And I'm hoping that we can revisit that subject and maybe get that project underway faster than currently planned. I would like to just make some general comments in response to the many comments today about our ability to respond to those with disabilities and people who have accessibility problems. You know, I've gotten some emails from Adam and from others, you know, recounting situations where people don't have access to bathrooms and other accessibility issues. I would just respectfully suggest to staff that maybe this would be a good time just to take a fresh look at our programs and policies regarding accessibility. There may be some opportunities to make some improvements, to make sure that we're not unintentionally discriminating against anybody by limiting their access to our services. I just think it'd be might be a good idea to have a fresh look at all this. And then finally, Adam raised questions about his concerns about the quiet car. I did raise that issue, I think, at the last meeting about perhaps making public announcements or putting decals indicating that quiet cars are available, much like SEPTA and other peer systems do. I really would be interested in hearing the staff's reaction to that. And then I'll leave it at that. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Are there any additional board member comments? Board member Nara?
So I wanted to a couple remarks. Let's see here. Andy White and Assemblywoman Hayter had raised the issue of the customer advocate and wanting an update. And I gave an update last meeting, and I think everyone will see a posting of this job position shortly. I think the goal is to, depending on, the goal is to have someone in this job in the spring. However, I will say that we have to have someone who meets the qualifications and can do this job. As you know, our first customer advocate came into a lot of criticism. It is, with an agency this size and with the length and breadth of our state, it is a position that is very tough. And we certainly don't want to set anyone up for failure. I know Andy White talked about an office. Right now, we're looking for a single person. I will tell you, I have a deal of concern about a single person having the ability to do everything that everyone seems to want out of a customer advocate. And so we are being diligent about what we're going to be asking of this person. But the update is I think that we will be on track to at least interview people. If there's a qualified applicant out there, hopefully we can get them on board in this. So let me address some other issues here that were raised. Adam, right, you had asked specifically in a prior meeting related to the closing of exits. I want you to know that Chief Trusillo did look into that. There's a specific spot you talked about, and in that location, it used to be a McDonald's. The McDonald's left, and fortunately, that area has turned into a bit of a dangerous area. There was a lot of loitering going on, some illegal activity. So the facilities asked PD to close off the area, so it was stanchion. Did look into it, and there is an exit door nearby. And so, Adam, to your point of if any time there's going to be closures of areas that there should be a fire safety component and have someone look at that. I have confidence based on what Chief Trusillo informed us of that will be done. That was done in the case that you raised, because safety of our customers and our fellow residents is always paramount. So Chief Trusillo did get back on that. I know there was another issue related to bus issues on certain lines. Someone had raised this about the frequency of the bus issues, and everyone here on staff gets and with particular to the bus line 88, 154, 159, there was issues about frequency over the weekend, and staff took a look at it. There are occasions not to warrant a full-scale change of frequency issues and bring them to our attention. We will. And so I also wanted to just address a number of speakers had raised the Stratogen report. I will be honest, I I didn't see that. I just got that forwarded to me, and I'll take a look at it. And yeah, I'm always open to looking at information that people give us, whether it's NJ Transit staff or members of the public. So I am happy to read through that report and see what Strategen had to say. And that's it for me tonight.
Thank you. Are there any additional board member comments? No? Okay.
Thank you, Megan. And thank you, public speakers as well. We're going to move on now to the advisory committee report. If Anna Marie Ganella Rosado would like to present the advisory committee report, please.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, Madam Chair, Vice Chair, board members, and staff. It's my pleasure to highlight the North and South PACs meeting of February 24th. The committees jointly met in a hybrid session. Access Link General Manager Nemeka Parker presented an update on the Power Transit Services Improvement Act. Members also received updates on legislation, various issues, and agency initiatives. The PACs provided letters of support for the most recent round of New Jersey Transit federal grant applications. A new cash payment option on a New Jersey Transit app was introduced to allow customers who don't have credit or debit cards or who prefer to use cash to take advantage of the mobile app. Transit will be providing enhanced services on various lines to accommodate customers heading to St. Patrick's Day events around the region. As the CEO mentioned, 8 bus lines are being considered for Sunday service. They are number 26, 58, 115, 153, 412, 455, 457, and 603. The South Jersey PAC continued its meeting in person at the Walter Rand Transportation Center in Camden. Members received updates on the South Jersey bus routes, the River Line, and the Walter Rand Transportation Improvement Project. On the agenda tonight is Resolution 2303-11, Egg Harbor Roof Replacement. As you are aware, the Egg Harbor Township Bus Garage was badly damaged in August 2020 due to high winds from Tropical Storm Isaias. The PAC support the passage of this resolution. Finally, the next joint PAC meeting will be held in person on April 19th at the Transaction Conference in Atlantic City. That concludes my report, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much. At this time, I'll call on Board Member Giblin to present the Operations and Customer Service Committee report.
The Operations and Customer Service Committee received an update on trends, analysis, and actions for rail, bus, light rail, and Access Link. The committee also received an update on the cost of service. That concludes my report, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Board Member Giblin. I'll now call upon Board Member Brown to present the Administration Committee report.
Thank you. The Administration Committee received a financial update. This included a summary of operating results compared to previous year comparable periods and fiscal year 23 budget. 12 months fare box revenue compared to pre-COVID major balance sheet items and federal COVID-19 relief grants drawdown summary. Additional information was provided as part of the agenda materials, including the cost of service, key performance indicators, 12-month fare box recovery, history of vacancy, attritions, hires, and ridership, and revenue in a monthly budget to actual comparisons for January 2023. This concludes my report.
Thank you, Board Member Brown. I will again call upon Board Member Giblin to present the Capital Planning, Policy, and Privatization Committee report.
The Capital Planning, Policy, and Privatization Committee discussed the board items for the following. Resolution authorizing entering into a funding agreement for the purchase of environmental mitigation credits and grants for the Hudson Tunnel project between New Jersey Transit and the National Railroad Passenger Corporation, and authorizing the purchase of various environmental mitigation credits and grants for the Hudson Tunnel project. Egg Harbor Roof Replacement Construction Services Contract Award. New Jersey Transit Task Order Consultants Contract Program and Contract Extension. Purchase of additional mobile column bus lifts and contracting out Union minibus service. That concludes my report, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Board Member Giblin. We'll now move on to the action items with President and CEO Corbett.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to introduce Rich Schaefer, Acting Senior Vice President, Capital Programs, to present first board item tonight, 2303-10, regarding actions for advancing the Hudson Tunnel project. Rich?
Thank you, President Corbett. We are presenting for approval item 2303-10, resolution authorizing entering into a funding agreement for the purchase of environmental mitigation credits and grants for the Hudson Tunnel project between New Jersey Transit and the National Passenger Corporation, and authorizing the purchase of various environmental mitigation credits and grants for the Hudson Tunnel project. Authorization is requested to enter into a funding agreement with the National Railroad Passenger Corporation, Amtrak, whereby Amtrak will provide the necessary funds to engage in environmental activities such as environmental mitigation. Authorization is also requested to expend funds which are reimbursable under the aforementioned funding agreement to perform environmental activities such as environmental mitigation. We ask for your approval of item 2303-10.
Commissioner, you're muted.
May I have a motion to approve board item 2303-10?
Motion, Nara.
May I have a second?
Second, Caniff.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Megan, would you please take roll call?
Roll call vote. Board Member Carson?
Yes.
Board Member Gordon?
Yes.
Board Member Medina?
Yes.
Board Member Nara?
Yes.
Board Member Weiss?
Yes.
Board Member Caniff?
Yes.
Board Member Giblin?
Yes.
Chair Gutierrez-Scacchetti?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Great, thank you. I'd now ask Rich to continue on with item 2303-11 regarding the Egg Harbor roof replacement. Rich?
Thank you, President Corbett. We are presenting for approval item 2303-11, Egg Harbor Roof Replacement Construction Services Contract Award. Authorization is requested to enter into a contract with J.P. Patty Tecta America, LLC of Saddlebrook, New Jersey, for construction services for the Egg Harbor Roof Replacement Project in the amount of $4,137,800.00, plus 5% for contingencies subject to the availability of funds. We ask for your approval of item 2303-11.
May I have a motion to approve board item 2303-11?
Motion, Gordon.
May I have a second?
Second.
Giblin, second.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Megan, please take roll.
Roll call vote. Board Member Carson?
Yes.
Board Member Gordon?
Yes.
Board Member Medina?
Yes.
Board Member Nara?
Yes.
Board Member Weiss?
Yes.
Board Member Caniff?
Yes.
Board Member Giblin?
Yes.
Chair Gutierrez-Scacchetti?
Yes.
Motion carried. We have a recusal on the next item. Board Member Medina is recused and will leave the meetings. Okay.
Great, thanks, Megan. Now ask Rich to carry on with item 2303-12 regarding task order contract program. Rich.
Thank you, President Corbett. We are presenting for approval item 2303-12. Sorry. That's the right one. Sorry. New Jersey Transit Task Order Consultant Contracts Program. Program and contract extension. Authorization is requested to amend the contracts with the firm shown in Exhibit A. The total value of the task order consultant contracts program, of which these contracts comprise, will be $82 million and 00 cents. Each contract will extend for an additional year. The maximum task and contract limits are shown in Exhibit B. We ask for your approval of item 2303-12. Thank you.
May I have a motion to approve board item 2303-12?
Motion, Nara.
May I have a second?
Second, Gordon.
Oh. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, Megan, please take roll call vote.
Roll call vote. Board Member Carson?
Yes.
Board Member Gordon?
Yes.
Board Member Nara?
Yes.
Board Member Weiss?
Yes.
Board Member Koenig?
Yes.
Board Member Giblin?
Yes.
Chair Gutierrez-Scacchetti?
Yes.
Motion carried. We will have Board Member Medina return to the meetings. Okay, we can proceed.
Great, thanks, Megan. Like to ask to Rich to present his last item for tonight, 2303-13, regarding agreement between New Jersey Transit and Gateway Development Commission in support of the Gateway Tunnel project. Rich.
Thank you, President Corbett. We are presenting for approval item 2303-13, resolution authorizing entering into a funding agreement between New Jersey Transit Corporation and the Gateway Development Commission. Authorization is requested to enter into a funding agreement with the Gateway Development Commission, whereby NJ Transit would convey to the Gateway Development Commission from funds received from the New Jersey Department of the Treasury in an amount of $19,391,467.67 for the purpose of supporting the Gateway Development Commission's fiscal year 2023 budget. We ask for your approval of item 2303-13.
May I have a motion to approve board item 2303-13?
So moved, Gordon.
May I have a second?
Second, Koenig.
Any discussion? Rich, just for clarification, the amount that you provided, it broke, the message broke up. That amount is an annual amount, correct? Paid in monthly installments?
I believe so, Commissioner. I'd have to double check on that.
Okay, it is.
Yeah, yes, Diane.
I can confirm that, Commissioner.
Thank you. Just make sure that the record shows that it is an annual amount that will be paid in monthly installments. Any other comments? Hearing none, Megan, please take a roll call vote.
Roll call vote. Board Member Carson?
Yes.
Board Member Gordon?
Yes.
Board Member Medina?
Yes.
Board Member Nara? Board
Yes.
Member Nara? Board Member
Yes,
Weiss?
Megan.
Yes.
Board Member Koenig?
Yes.
Board Member Giblin?
Yes.
Chair Gutierrez-Scacchetti?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Great, thanks. I'd now like to ask Mike Kilcoyne, Senior Vice President, Service Transit and General Manager of Bus Operations, present board item 2303-14 regarding purchase of mobile column bus lists. Mike.
Thank you, President Corbett. We are presenting for approval item 2303-14, purchase of additional mobile column bus lifts. Authorization is requested to exercise an option in a contract with Sturtle Kona USA of Stevensville, Maryland, for the purchase of 41 additional mobile column lifts. These are 8 4-column lists and 33 6-column lists, in the amount not to exceed $2,934,702.83, plus 5% for contingencies, subject to the availability of funds. We ask for your approval of item 2303-14.
May I have a motion to approve item 2303-14?
So moved, Koenig.
May I have a second?
Second, Gordon.
Second, Nara.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, Megan, please take roll call vote.
Roll call vote. Board Member Carson?
Yes.
Board Member Gordon?
Yes.
Board Member Medina,
Yes.
Board Member Nara,
Yes.
Board Member Weiss,
Yes.
Board Member Kana,
Yes.
Board Member Giblin,
Yes.
Chair Gutierrez Scacchetti.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Great, thanks. I would now like ask Mike to continue on with presenting board item 2303-15 regarding union minibus service. Mike.
Thank you, President Corbett. We are presenting for approval item 2303-15, contracting out union minibus service. Authorization is requested to enter into a procurement by exception directed assignment contract with Suburban Trails Incorporated of New Brunswick, New Jersey, to operate the union minibus service for an 18-month contract period of April 29th, 2023 through November 1st of 2024 at a cost not to exceed $1,334,496 plus 5% for contingencies for a total contract authorization of $1,401,221, subject to the availability of funds and board approval of New Jersey Transit's operating budget. We ask for your approval of item 2303-15.
May I have a motion to approve board item 2303-15?
Motion, Gordon.
Motion.
May I have a second?
Second, Nara.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Megan, please take roll.
Roll call vote. Board Member Carson,
Yes.
Board Member Gordon,
Yes.
Board Member Medina,
Yes.
Board Member Nara,
Yes.
Board Member Weiss,
Yes.
Board Member Kana,
Yes.
Board Member Giblin,
Yes.
Chair Gutierrez Scacchetti.
Yes.
Motion carried. Board
thank you.
members Thomas, I'm sorry, we have a board member recusal.
Sorry.
Board members Thomas and Brown are recused from the next item and will leave the meetings.
Okay.
One moment. Okay, you can proceed.
Okay, great, thanks, Megan. Now I'll ask Bill Vaquera, Senior Vice President, Chief Financial Officer, and Treasurer, to present board item 2303-16, the last action item for tonight regarding a personal injury claim. Bill?
Thank you, President Corbett. Presenting for approval item 2303-16, personal injury claim of Kevin Powers. Authorization is requested to settle the claim of Kevin Powers through his attorney at an amount discussed in executive session. The Attorney General has approved the proposed settlement, subject to availability of funds. We ask for your approval of item 2303-16.
May I have a motion to approve item 2303-16?
Giblin, so moved.
May I have a second?
Second,
Second,
Nara.
Caniff.
Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Megan, please take a roll.
Roll call vote. Board Member Carson,
Yes.
Board Member Gordon,
Yes.
Board Member Medina,
Yes.
Board Member Nara,
Yes.
Board Member Weiss,
Yes.
Board Member Kana,
Yes.
Board Member Giblin,
Yes.
Chair Gutierrez Scacchetti.
Yes.
Motion carried.
That was the last item for open session. There will be no executive session tonight as there are no matters of pressing nature on the agenda, and they will be addressed in next month. Having said that, since there is no further business, may I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved,
Motion,
Gordon.
Nara.
May I have a second?
Second, Medina.
Someone, please.
Thank you, Carlos. Any discussion on this motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. The meeting is adjourned. Everybody I'm glad you're all home. I was going to say get home safe, but everybody is home, so that's a good thing. And we'll see you next month. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Good
Thanks,
night.
everyone. Good night.